Welcome, everyone. My name is Tracy Murphy-Poxtis, and this is Good to Great in Under 8, the weekly show for motivated business professionals who want to learn how to crack the code to having more successful and fulfilling careers. So guys, one of the many challenges that we all face as leaders is figuring out how to get buy-in from our team members on unpopular decisions or changes that are being made within the organization. Now, this might include things like, maybe senior leadership said the organization decided not to move forward with a major initiative that your team really invested a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into because it's not projected to deliver the ROI. Or maybe your team is no longer going to have decision-making authority when it comes to hiring, let's say, outside contractors. Instead, they're going to have to follow a new company policy and engage the procurement department to ensure that the company's not overspending. No matter what the unpopular decision or change is, it really is our job as leaders to communicate it to our teams in a way that helps them, one, understand, and two, support the decision or the change. Now, of course, it's probably not possible to think that you're going to get every single person to understand and support every decision and every change, right? But as leaders, there are things that we can do that will help with this. And so the first thing, and I always like to say this, is that it begins with us, right? It begins with ourselves and making sure that we ourselves understand why the decision or change was made, and that we work through any of our own anxiety or stress about it, right? It's imperative that we get ourselves to a place where we've accepted the decision or the change, because honestly, if we haven't, our team will know that, right? They'll know that we've not bought in, and likely they won't either. So once you're then at a place where you're comfortable with the decision or change, then what you want to do is recognize and really accept that your team is also likely going to have resistance, right? You had resistance, they're likely to have resistance. And the key thing here is not to label their resistance as something bad, right? Rather, see that as normal. People resist change. It's a normal thing, right? And see it as an important part of your job. Yes, it is your job to deal with that kind of resistance. Because only once you've really accepted their resistance as a normal thing, and you've accepted that it truly is part of your job to work through, will you be able to do it with a positive mindset? And then once you get yourself here, the next thing you want to do is really step into the shoes of each of your team members and think about the decision or the change from their perspective. And ask yourself, what concerns or worries are they likely to have? And how would you address those? Now, this might take a little bit of time to think through, but honestly, guys, don't take too long, because you always want to make sure that you communicate any decision or change as soon as possible to minimize sort of any misunderstandings or any gossip that could start. And then the last thing to do when you're trying to get your team to understand and buy into a decision or change is to really help them see how that change or decision is going to positively impact the future. And this is super important, because once we can start to see the future benefits of something, that's actually the first step all of us need to take in moving towards it. So guys, in summary, when you need to communicate an unpopular decision or a change, the 4 things you want to make sure that you do are: 1, make sure you're on board with the decision or change and that you understand it and can accept it yourself. 2, accept that your team is going to have resistance and it's your job to deal with that resistance. 3, think about and work through the concerns or worries that the team will have. And then lastly, help them really see how the decision is going to positively impact the future. And so if you're out there and you're struggling to accept a decision or change, or you're trying to get your team to accept the decision or change and you want some help, reach out to me. I'm happy to help you. Just send me an email at tracy@tracymurphycoaching.com and we will get a conversation started. So that's it for today, guys. Have a fantastic week.